Okay, I thought I'd make another little video. One of those corny videos where I talk about the 5 things you hate about the tractor or the car, whatever the case is. I don't know, I guess it's all clickbait, but that's what YouTube has brought us to. Anyways, no complaints about the Kubota so far. The only things I have to say are just really small and relatively minor. Just thinking about this plastic on the seat here, I feel like one of those 60s, 70s couples that keep their plastic on their sofa for 20, 30 years. It seems like a lot of people don't take the plastic off of their tractor for a while. I've seen videos with people having 400 or 500 hours on their tractor and they still got their plastic on their seats. But yeah, it protects it. I mean, it's a dirty environment, so I don't know if I would put a seat cover in afterwards or not. Okay, so the first thing is just generally this plastic around the driver's seat is very flimsy. And what happens is if you're shifting quickly, this rubber boot can come out of its, come out of its holster there. So it's not a big deal, but it's annoying to put back in. And a little bit of a more important sort of annoyance, and it's not about Kubota because I think a lot of the newer tractors have this, is for the PTO. So to turn on the PTO, you just push and turn, but to turn off the PTO, I just hit this button. In theory, it sounds great, so it's like a panic button, you know. If you want to stop, all you have to do is hit it. The thing I've noticed though is trying to get used to it. When I am trying to turn off the PTO quickly, I just smack it and the PTO doesn't actually stop. And I don't realize this because I power down the engine. Look back, the thing is still wobbling around behind me. So you actually have to press it long enough for the mechanism to register. So I would prefer sort of an on-off switch that you can see that it's on or off. It's a nice idea, but I guess you have to really get used to it. Otherwise, it's sort of misleading sometimes when you hit it, and it's happened to me a number of times. That's why I would consider that as a little negative. The other thing is this mat. This mat on the ground is super insulated. There's probably about 1 inch of foam underneath for sound insulation, I guess. However, I would have liked to see this thing go up a little bit higher, because dirt is just gonna go everywhere in and around there. It's already starting. I mean, I guess it's possible to just take the mat off and clean the tractor, but it wouldn't have killed them to have another couple of inches worth of material here just to have a nice pocket where the mud or dust can collect. Yeah. So the other thing that's a little bit annoying is the ratios. When you go from one ratio to the next, it's sometimes hard to find the middle range. So you can kind of tell when you're in the creeper gears or the fast range, but when you're trying to select the middle range, sometimes you think you've selected it, you put it into gear, nothing happens. It's a little embarrassing. Then you kind of have to pull it again, and it catches it. I think you probably get used to it with a little bit more experience, but I would have hoped that it's direct and you have some feedback to know exactly that you're in the range that you want to be in. And lastly, is just a little thing again. This little box here. It's a little bit big for what it's supposed to do. You know, it's just a hazard lights and a button, but it's taking out a big chunk of space, and it goes with you no matter what you do. You know, if you put the seat up or down. So it takes away a little bit more than maybe it needs to of your visibility. Maybe they have a reason for doing that. I don't know. And so, yeah, that's generally from the interior. A few of the things that are a little annoying, but not a big deal. Overall, the power of the tractor is really nice. The gears are great. I tested out the neutral. Haven't tested out this half gear yet, but or the memory here for the different RPM ranges. And yeah, I guess you know, if you're comparing it to other tractors, it's really on par. But if you're comparing it to like a car or a truck, then for the amount of money, you know, it seems a little bit behind. But that's just taking into account all the stuff that you're touching and seeing. It's not taking into account the amount of stuff under the hood and all of the engineering and the weight behind the tractor. Because just looking at the amount of stuff they had to do to get this emissions down to whatever it is ridiculous. Looks like half of the stuff under the hood is made just to reduce emissions. Overall, underneath, looking at the tractor is another little concern, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and in certain situations it looks like there are some bits that can get caught up by big branches or small branches. They even had a branch nestle itself in between I guess the breather of the fuel tanks, and you know, those some of these sticks, they have big thorns, and if they pull on that rubber, they could easily puncture it or rip it right off of there. So it's just something to be mindful of when driving around areas that are a little more dangerous to the bottom of the tractor. Yeah, otherwise it's really great visibility, and you can see the welds that they use. I'm not a welder. Seems okay, but yeah, little gap here, and okay, I think I went on a little long there. Anyways, maybe I'll take some more time and do another little video about the 5 things I really like about this Kubota. Yeah, okay. Hope that was of interest.